Hello and welcome to EstiQ Media right here on YouTube. You know how it is, how we do it right here. I'm always excited to share something quite interesting with you. I'm also always interested to want to know what you think about what we talk about here. So kindly subscribe, share, tell your friends to come on this channel, and the only way you can do that is to send the link to them. Okay, send the link to their WhatsApp so to their personal DM, that's their WhatsApp, and tell them to just watch the content. And I would like to actually hear from you on the comment section right here on YouTube. Also, we're on Spotify as well, so you can download most of our content right on there, and visit the website. It's www.estiqmedia.com. That's EstiQmedia.com. So I would like us to just traverse into some headlines across some select national dailies. It's important for us to know what's going on in the country. I'm sure we already have our mobile devices. A couple of us have subscribed to some news outlets or channels that just notifies you when something interesting comes up. But let's look at some things that actually popped up as the banner headlines on some national dailies. So on Vanguard newspaper, apparently Tinubu Fintiri, they seek police inquest into Adamawa Post. And this is my opinion. I'm like, what inquest are you finding out into Adamawa Post when it's actually obvious what happened? So if you do not know what happened in Adamawa State, there was a Guba polls which occurred on March 18, and there was, of course, Adamawa State was one of the states whereby the results there were inconclusive, so it was extended to April, whereby a supplementary election took place. And again, the supplementary elections it would seem like they would have postponed it, but results were called in the following day, like other local governments that actually took where elections took place on Saturday when the results were already on, and other states as well that had issues during March 18, their results were already declared. But Adamawa State was dramatic. Let's just say that drama entered into the week, and it set a lot of media organizations rolling. Twitter was agog, reactions were everywhere. I would literally say that was a brazen rape of our democracy. I don't know what that resident electoral commissioner was thinking, why he came to do what he did. Even if somebody had paid you money and said, see, look for every means that you can use to scuttle this election, that was not just the right way to go. The collation officer wasn't there. Election results were not completely collated. Only 10 local governments had been counted and collated. Remaining other local governments, about 10 or more local governments, be collated. And according to the governor of the state, that's the incumbent, he was already leading with about 30 or 31,000. And it was obvious that the incumbent was leading. Now, there's a very different, interesting dimension to the audio, though. Binani, that is the APC governorship candidate for Adamawa State, a lot of persons actually would have loved her to win. I would have loved her to win because that's the first time we'll be having a female governor. To be honest with you, we're still patriarchal in this part of the world. The patriarchy system still operates, and I must tell you, it's not an easy feat to upstage, but she winning would have been a good thing. Let's not lie, let's be honest with ourselves. It would have been a good thing if she had won, but it was just the way the whole thing went. She was already acquiring sympathy votes. I mean, a lot of women would say, I would have loved for Binani to win. I would have loved for her to have eventually scale through. And let's just know what it feels like to have a female governor in this part of the world. It's usually the women are either the vice governors, or they're usually in the Senate. Even in the Senate, there are not so many like that, but one would have wanted to see how it would be a female governor in that state and see how she would go about her governance. That will be different from the men, or how the men go about their own type of governance. But unfortunately, the party she was in, and maybe somehow the people still wanted their incumbent. Whichever way, the process would have flawed that she having to emerge as a governor, and that's what set a lot of tongue rolling, not necessarily on Benani, but the resident electoral commissioner that came to declare there were no results. Where are you declaring from? You just came and ordered. So I know that the resident electoral commissioner has a mandate to make such an announcement, but excuse me, how? Where are you doing that? There's a guideline. There are processes. You could have actually gone through that process. Okay, so anyways, that's everyone has been beating that drum, and now we have on the Vanguard newspaper where Tinubu is seeking police inquest into Adamawa Post, and everyone is saying, we sort of know what took place. Money changed hands. Some things happened, which is usual when it comes to the conduct of our politics here. So let's not pretend like we don't know what happened. But hey, because this was brazenly done, everyone is asking questions. What will be done to that resident electoral commissioner? Has he been arrested? Is he being interrogated to ask him who told him to come do what he did? The DSS said that there's a possibility this individual was given an amount of money. Well, allegedly. But then let us know what the inquest is going to be like. Let's see what the investigation is saying. It's not enough to say he's no longer going to be part of INEC. It's not enough. People want to see more done. We need to see that disciplinary measures need to be carried out over such an impunity. Indiscipline cannot continue to hold sway and be the headline of the day, because I mean, if such a brazen act is carried out, it means that will be a continuous process and we'll never experience any change. So that, of course, is the major headline on the Vanguard newspaper. And again, hey, Monday, this Friday, Friday, this Friday precisely, and Monday next week is a public holiday. Yippee! So Friday tomorrow is the 21st of April, and 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th of April is a public holiday. So all of us, most of us can enjoy, but some of us who it doesn't matter whether it's a public holiday or not, we must definitely come to work. So that's the scenario. Then, of course, another interesting headline that we have is on the Daily Independent, where Malami Ahmed frustrating $2.4 billion oil revenue probe. That particular headline, I don't even want to go in there. So in this part of the world, we have a situation where a couple of individuals do not really respect the rule of law, but they're meant to uphold the rule of law. So you have Malami, who is a minister. I really don't know how to, let's just say, put this in context. All right, so Malami is the Minister of Justice. He's the Attorney General of the Federation, right? And monies were spent, monies were approved by him, and questions have been asked. Excuse me, how did you approve this monies, or who gave you the authority to approve this money? $2.4 billion oil revenue probe, right? Who gave you the permission to approve this money? Like, in what way were you given that audacity to do that? So apparently he approved the payment of about $200 million to two private firms as a consultancy services fees on whistleblowers' recoveries. And the House is asking, under what authority, what jurisprudence were you given that platform? Were you given that, would I say, signatory to do that? I know that you're the Minister of Justice, but excuse me, how comes you need to give evidence on the allegations that you approved the payment of $200 million to two private firms as consultancy services fees? Consultancy. Do you know what it is to consult? I think I leave it to you to make your own decisions. I leave it to you to actually say what you think about this, because to be honest with you, I'm wondering where we're going in this part of the world. Now, the committee chairman, that's Mark Miller, said these at the resumed hearing of the investigation, noting that both ministers have been uncooperative with the panel despite several letters of invitation. So they've been sending them several letters of invitation, but they have been, unresponsive. They've not been responding. They've refused to attend to the House request to, come for an invite whereby investigations can be conducted. And people can actually say one or two things as to ask questions and in-depth questions on what this actually pretends. They actually said that they've looked into the functions of the Attorney General's office and that they have not seen any statutory powers approved or whereby the Attorney General by the Constitution is to determine how Nigeria's money will be spent. So they have searched and they've not seen any statutory powers or any statutory function on that. I leave that to you because I don't know how to begin to divest this. There's a lot when it comes to politics. It's really intensely dramatic if we want to look at some of these things. But hey, that's basically what the scenario is in there. And so right now, the House is saying they may issue arrest warrants to cause the appearance. So if they have to go to court and get an arrest order, whereby if they do not appear, an ultimatum will be given and they do not appear to answer those questions, which is the right of the House, the committee to do, then definitely they may be issued an arrest warrant. So I don't know, but it's an interesting development. So let's look at the Daily Trust, and the headline there says high fertilizer prices threaten wet season. 50 kilograms cost 30,000 naira or more. High cost may cause food inflation. Federal government states must act now. And I'm like, there's already inflation in the polity. If you look at how things have been, there was a narrow redesign policy which had a good purpose, all right? If things are done normally in this part of the world, it actually, the initiative was a very good one. Unfortunately, it just didn't have the right timing, and then things just didn't pan out properly, so that cash crunch caused inflation. We had a lot of persons no longer trusting the banking system, so what they decided to do was just to stop having anything to do with the banks. We have a lot of Nigerians who currently, even if they have accounts, have removed all their monies from their bank accounts and kept the money in their house, so when they need to have access to cash, they wouldn't be afraid, of having access to cash. So right now, let's just say that we have a couple of banked unbanked Nigerians. So the fertilizer has gotten high, and of course they're predicting that if farmers can no longer have access to farming fertilizers to make sure that their crops grow better, there's a possibility that food prices will soar, and it would affect a lot of sectors. Once there's no food, it affects a couple of other things in the economy. So they're saying that the federal government should do something about it as soon as possible. Then we also have, still on the Daily Trust, where about 40 days to go, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 1.53 trillion naira for 11 road projects. I know that the thing that comes to your mind immediately is like, seriously, we have about 40 days to go. That's about a month and a few days to go, and you're beginning to award contracts worth millions of naira, trillion actually, and the country says there's no money. They say they don't have money in the single treasury account. They've been borrowing. Fuel subsidy will definitely be removed by June, and we have the minister saying that they've been able to secure a loan of $800 million to cushion the shock. How that will be systematically audited for us to know how the process will go, we do not know. But they want to give a couple of vulnerable Nigerians about an amount of money whereby they'll be able to sustain themselves, because they know that fuel prices will definitely hike every other commodity. I do not know how you give people some amount of money and you think that will help them to absorb the shock of you removing fuel subsidy. I don't know how that's going to happen, but hey, that's how politics is in this part of the world. Now, apparently, the road project is a good thing, but it's less than 40 days for this administration to exit the stage. So, how comes? All right, the contract awards were approved following memos presented by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing under the purview of the Works Minister Babatunde Fashola. Now, questions were asked, right? How comes when the lifespan of the administration is almost coming to an end? And then, in trying to justify that, he said, if the question is posed to Nigerians whether these projects would be left undone and transferred to the incoming administration, majority of the citizens would prefer it comes now because of the implications of job creation and stimulating the economy. I'm not going to be surprised if the incoming administration says they come and did not see any money. They have to borrow more money, to circulate, finance the budget, borrow more money for the administration to pick up and commence. Because having to see the explanation from the minister, that tells you the point of view or the stance of the current situation ongoing in the country. And I must tell you, it's quite a lot. So let's see how that pans out. Let's see how that goes. We have death toll hit 151 as Lassa fever spreads to 26 states. Now, during COVID, we have issues with Lassa fever, right? NSCDC said that they were doing all that they could to ensure that this doesn't spread. But we're no longer seeing updates on the Lassa fever situation from that particular site, from the agency itself. Now, the agency is meant as a Nigerian Commission for Disease and Control. They're supposed to tell us how far they've been going in curtailing the spread of the Lassa fever disease or virus, whichever way it is. But about 151 Lassa fever cases has spread to 26 states, and that's not a good thing. Trust me. So something needs to be done as soon as possible. Let me hear in the comment section what you think about that. Now, in the Punch newspaper, which is almost a reflection of what the Daily Trust says, the major headline there is that local rice price jumps by 200%. This time, these ones decided to focus on rice. They said rice price soars from 173 naira per kilogram to 521 naira per kilogram under this current administration, that's President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and that's from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics report. So rice farmers, producers, experts blame rising inflation, insecurity, others for rice woes. Now rice is a major staple of food that we eat in this part of the world. It's almost like a celebrity food. There is no house you go, especially every Sunday, most homes cook rice. Birthday parties, they prepare rice. The only thing is that we have varieties. We have jollof rice, we have fried rice, we have coconut rice, but the thing is, rice is a staple food. So it's a food that every person gets to eat on a daily basis. In fact, if you go to some restaurants, majority people come to buy rice there. If you go to local food vendors, people buy rice. So it's a daily food that Nigerians eat. And if you have that increased, I don't think that'll be a good thing. A staple food that people like to have access to, because even as of now, it's not that cheap. All right, so having it to increase like this, nah, it's not okay. We also have on the Punch headline there, beneath this, apparently, police warned against cover up concerning Adamawa poll. So the police is warning that the Adamawa poll inquest should not be covered up. People have also warned that the police should not cover up the investigations ongoing for the Adamawa poll. So that's a warning. I hope that investigations of the inquest that President-elect suggested should be made concerning the drama that took place for the supplementary elections in Adamawa. I hope that we're able to see what the return is, and they're able to let the people know that this is basically what transpired, because let it not be another case that is swept under the carpet, in as much as we have a lot of inquests and investigations ongoing with the February 25 elections and the March 18 elections. In fact, most of the elections, there's a lot of inquests ongoing. Petitions are in the election petition court. So it's a lot. So for Punch as well, we have Lagos Mayor burns BRT bus as driver dies in a crash. Well, it's an unfortunate incident, trust me, and there are avoidable incidents or accidents that should be practiced. That is, avoidable incidents, meaning that it shouldn't have happened. It is something that could have been prevented. But we have a couple of foolhardy Nigerians. You need to come to Lagos and see the way they drive. It literally means that there is no how you think you'll be careful. Some of these drivers would push you to commit the kind of sin you never thought you would commit in your life. It is that unfortunate, I'm telling you the truth. And so you have a number of accidents, physical injuries, people die on things that could have been preventative. These are the scenarios, these are the issues. Okay, so that's basically it. And El-Rufai is raising the alarm over insecurity ahead of May 29. That's also one of the stories on the Punch newspaper. It's on the bottom page there. If you check out the major headline that is on the bottom page, and is beneath the pictorial on the front page of the Punch newspaper, where you see the BRT bus that got burnt. El-Rufai is saying that it is impossible. It is important for security to be strengthened ahead of May 29 inauguration. And one would wonder what should be the priority of this governor. We've had a record of insecurity in Kaduna. In fact, it almost seems like there is a religious or ethnic cleansing in that part of the country. And we have the state governor seeming like he's more concerned about May 29 inauguration. I mean, balance it side by side. What should be a priority? We've been having religious killings. We've been having the Islamic sect and the Boko Haram, the Islamic terrorist extremist sect perpetrating evil and all whatnot in some areas in the north. Kaduna is one of them. And what your priority is, or what your concern is that you're raising alarm for, is for May 29. Okay, let's see how that goes. All right, so these are the headlines and the national dailies that we're going to be talking about today. What are your comments based on it? I did not really do any analysis. I just gave my own opinion on what I think about some of the headlines I see here. And if you've been following the politics in this part of the world, hey, that's basically what it is. That's the issue that we're currently ongoing. I just wanted to update you. This is my personal opinion of what I think. In some instances, I'll try to bring in someone that can help divest these issues better, so we put things in context, we're able to contextualize things. However, I hope you're having an amazing day. All right, so see you next time.